Hello, Workability One regional designees and regional managers. Welcome to the Workability One Regional Bank Account Guidance webinar for fiscal year 2021-22. Thank you for attending this training. My name is Nick Waveren, and here with me is my colleague, Wes Robertson. We are both education program consultants from the Special Education Division of the California Department of Education, which we will refer to in this presentation as CDE. We are excited to provide you with information on several key updates regarding the Workability One regional meetings and regional bank accounts. Let's get started. Next slide, please. Here is the overview for today's training. First, we will provide some background information regarding the regional accounts. Then we will provide an update on the recent CDE guidance regarding regional bank accounts. We will then cover the role and responsibility of the regional designee. We then want to provide some guidelines for the regional meetings, which include the allowable and unallowable costs. We will then provide the framework for documenting the regional meeting costs within the Workability One database. And finally, we will let you know how to reach out if you have any questions. Next slide, please. I am now going to turn this over to my colleague, Wes Robertson, to provide some background on this shift in regional operations. Over to you, Wes.
Next slide, please. Thanks, Nick. Now we're going to talk about the background. The California Department of Education issued a guidance letter on April 5th, 2021, requiring Workability One regions to cease and desist the collection of Workability One funds from grantees within their Workability region. The purpose of this training is to provide updated guidance from the follow-up letter issued on June 11th, 2021 on the following areas: regional meeting accounts, regional meetings, regional designees, required documentation. The CDE recognizes the importance of regional activities such as regional business meetings and trainings, as they help to improve Workability One service delivery practices throughout the region and state. We also recognize that in order to hold regional business meetings and trainings, funds are necessary. Next slide, please. Now let's talk a little bit more about Workability One regional bank accounts and our transition away from this practice. Next slide, please. Workability One regional bank accounts. The collection and pooling of Workability One funds from Workability One grantees within the Workability One regional bank accounts is no longer permissible. The use of Workability One regional bank accounts is no longer permissible due to the following reasons. There's a lack of internal controls for monitoring the regional bank accounts for both the local and state levels. There is a potential for misuse of Workability One grant funds. And lastly, the pooling of Workability grant funds across fiscal years is not permissible. Workability One grant funds are to be spent within the time period on the grant award notification, also known as GAN, going forward in this presentation. If those funds are not spent, they need to be returned to the CDE. Workability One regional bank accounts are no longer to be permitted and shall be closed no later than June 30th of 2021. If you would like to discuss this matter further, please coordinate a technical assistance call with your assigned CDE consultant. This information will be provided at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. Workability One regional designee. Now let's talk about the brave volunteers who signed up for the role of Workability One regional designee. But before we do that, let's talk about the benefits of making the shift from regional bank accounts to having a regional designee. By eliminating the regional bank accounts, we have developed a more streamlined process for using Workability One regional designee to coordinate regional business meetings for each region. This process allows for better monitoring of Workability One grant funds and empowers the region to be able to receive the funds faster to pay venues for the space used for regional meetings. An additional benefit is that Workability grantees no longer need to pay a regional meeting registration fee. This allows grantees to redirect those funds on other Workability One related operational costs. Essentially, Workability One grantees need only plan for the associated travel costs to attend the regional business meetings should they go in person. This also frees up the time of the regional managers or their delegates from collecting registration fees from grantees within that region. Next slide, please. Workability One regional designee, slide 1 of 3. The CDE will be providing funding to one designated Workability One grantee within each of the 5 Workability One regions for the purpose of hosting in-person regional meetings. These funds will be provided within the regional designee's grant award notification letter, or GAN, and it is also in the statement of assurances. These funds will be reflected within the regional designee's budget within the Workability One database once the CDE opens up fiscal year 21-22. For fiscal year 2021-22, each regional designee will receive $6,000 for regional business meetings. Note, this amount may be subject to change in the future based on the availability of Workability One funds. The Workability One funds provided to the regional designees grant must be spent on organizing in-person regional meetings within the same fiscal year in which the funds were received. Next slide, please. Workability One regional designee, slide 2 of 3. The Workability One funds provided for regional business meetings must be tracked by the Workability One regional designee within each Workability One region and are subject to an audit by the CDE per the Workability One grant assurances number 12, and that's on page 2 of the grant award notification letter. The grantee must maintain expenditure reports with supporting evidence and be prepared to submit them to the CDE upon request. The CDE has the authority to conduct program and fiscal reviews or audits. It is important to note that this condition also applies to the additional funds provided to the regional designee within their grant award notification letter. Regional designees will need to maintain a record of all expenditures related to the costs of the regional meetings. We will discuss this in greater detail later in this presentation. Next slide, please. Workability One regional designee, slide 3 of 3. The Workability One funds provided to the regional designee must be spent on organizing in-person regional meetings within the same fiscal year in which the funds were received. Any unspent regional funds must be returned to the CDE. Note, the regional designee does not have to be the regional treasurer. Should the designee not be the treasurer, the region may no longer need to have this position have a role within the region. Now I'm going to turn this webinar back over to my colleague, Nick Waveren. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Wes. Workability One regional meeting guidelines. In this section, we will cover the guidelines for conducting regional meetings, including allowable and unallowable expenditures. Next slide, please. Workability One regional meeting guidelines, slide 1 of 4. Allowable expenditures for Workability One staff related to regional business meetings, workshops, in-service, or other trainings shall meet the following criteria. They are reasonable and necessary for the implementation of the Workability One regional business meetings. Expenses incurred by Workability One grantees shall be budgeted in the approved Workability One grant budget. Expenses incurred by the regional designee for the regional business meetings are limited to training and professional development for the provision of Workability One services. Next slide, please. Workability One Regional Meeting Guidelines, slide 2 of 4. Allowable expenditures for Workability One staff related to regional business meetings, workshops, in-service, or other trainings shall meet the following criteria continued. If an in-person meeting is not feasible, Workability One grantees shall use other modes of communication to disseminate information, such as telephone, email, or video conference, instead of incurring expenses related to in-person meetings. This requirement does not waive the GAN conditions to hold regular regional meetings twice a year. Next slide, please. Workability One Regional Meeting Guidelines, 3 of 4. Unallowable expenditures for Workability One staff related to regional business meetings, workshops, in-service, or other trainings shall meet the following criteria. Costs related to social activities such as food, potlucks, dances, holiday and graduation parties, or any other celebrations. Costs related to entertainment, including amusement and diversion. These would be unallowable expenditures. Next slide, please. Workability One Regional Meeting Guidelines, slide 4 of 4. Unallowable expenditures for Workability One staff related to regional business meetings, workshops, in-service, or other trainings shall meet the following criteria continued. Costs related to promotional items or materials, and costs related to speakers or presenters. These would be unallowable expenditures. And with that, I'm going to turn this presentation back over to Wes. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Nick. Documenting regional meeting costs. Now I'm going to go over how the regional designees are to document regional meeting costs. This documentation will occur within their Workability One grants budget within the Workability One database, and the regional designee will need to maintain supporting documentation for these costs. Next slide, please. Documenting regional meeting costs, slide 1 of 5. Regional meeting costs need to be documented as their own separate line item within account code 5000 of the regional designee's grant budget within the Workability One database. This line item should reflect estimated costs for the regional meeting and may include the following: room rental and deposit, technology fees such as Wi-Fi, audio, visual, etc. Other venue fees excluding food, training resources and handouts. When the regional designee's grant is activated within the Workability One database, the assigned CDE consultant will return their grant's projected budget with an increased funding amount for the regional business meetings. For fiscal year 2021-22, this amount will be $6,000. The project contact or the regional designee will need to update their grant's projected budget in account code 5000 to include a line item for the regional business meeting. This line item should include their best estimate of costs at that time. As the planning for regional meetings begin, the regional designee will have the opportunity to update the regional business meeting line item throughout the fiscal year when completing their final budget and or completing a budget revision. Next slide, please. Documenting regional meeting costs, slide 2 of 5. Now I'm going to describe the image on the screen. The image on the screen is a sample of a Workability One grantee's budget for their services and operating expenses, also known as account code 5000. Now I'm going to read the line item narrative for account code 5000 for the image on the slide. First line on the image has the number 5, account code 5000, and a budgeted total of $6,300. Next line has $6,000 for Workability 1 high school grant for regional meeting funds for Region 4. The costs include room rental fee and deposit, technology fee, Wi-Fi and audio-visual setup fee, other venue costs. The next line has other line items within the image on the screen for account 5,000. The following line has a $200 line item for the subscription to YTry and Resilience for youth online curricula on self-advocacy, youth leadership, independent living skills, and family participation. Per the example, this curricula was selected because consistent with Workability 1 array of services and was low in cost. The last line has a $100 line item for mileage for Workability 1 staff. The image description is now finished. The Regional Designees Grant will have a line item for the regional meeting that denotes the estimated individual costs associated with conducting the regional meetings. We understand that as the regional designee receives quotes from vendors, these line items for the regional meeting are subject to change over the course of the year. Once the regional designee has received the actual cost via invoice from the meeting location vendor, the regional designee in conjunction with the project contact will need to amend their budget in the spring of 2022 to reflect the actual cost for the regional meeting. This may involve fleshing out any additional costs not included in their projected budget or final budget for the regional meeting line item. Next slide, please. Documenting regional meeting costs, slide 3 of 5. The Regional Designees Grant may claim indirect costs on the funds provided for the regional business meetings. Note, this decision is up to the regional designee and their district staff. With that being said, regional designees will need to work with their assigned CDE consultant to determine the amount of indirect costs that they're being claimed on the regional business meeting funds and adjust the regional business meeting line item accordingly. One important thing to note is that the regional designees grant may not apply the 10% rule within their grants budget to underspend, overspend the regional meeting funds across other line items. The 10% rule only applies to all other line items excluding regional meeting funds. Additionally, grantees cannot claim more than their approved indirect rate. Please see the 2012 Workability 1 request for applications for full language on the 10% threshold. Next slide, please. Documenting regional meeting costs, slide 4 of 5. Now I'm going to talk about the end of the year closeout process. The Workability 1 regional designees shall submit at the end of the year a final regional expenditure report no later than August 10th. That includes the following: all allowable expenditures associated with the operating costs of the Workability 1 regional business meeting. The regional designee's budget should delineate between the costs of the regional business meeting and the traditional grant award amount. It is also important that Workability 1 regional designee shall maintain supporting documentation for the regional meeting costs. This includes receipts and invoices for the cost of conducting the regional meeting for that fiscal year. Next slide, please. Documenting regional meeting costs, slide 5 of 5. Now let's recap the end of the year closeout process. In summary, the Workability 1 regional designees shall submit at the end of each fiscal year a final expenditure report no later than August 10th. If there are any unspent Workability 1 grant funds that are allocated for the regional business meetings, the Workability 1 regional designee will submit a final expenditure report indicating the amount of remaining grant funds to be returned. The regional designee may not apply the 10% rule to underspend, overspend the regional meeting funds across other line items. The 10% rule only applies to all other line items, excluding regional meetings. Lastly, once all regional designees have had the opportunity to view this webinar, Nick and I will schedule a short question and answer session for regional designees. We recognize that this process is new and there may be some speed bumps along the way. We anticipate the potential for the need to hold one-on-one budget revision sessions with each individual regional designee, and we will make ourselves available to do so as we all navigate through this new process together. Next slide, please. Questions. We will be coordinating a question and answer session with regional designees once all regional designees have had the opportunity to view this webinar. We look forward to working with you on this new opportunity and appreciate your leadership in stepping up to take on the role of regional designee. Next slide, please. Thank you. The email address on the screen is workability1@cde.ca.gov. That's capital WORKABILITY1@cde.ca.gov. Please send your questions to the address listed above with the subject line to include your Workability project name and the number, and in parentheses, regional designee questions. Thank you very much for taking on the role of regional designee. We appreciate that you took the time to view this webinar. And again, if after viewing this webinar, you have any questions or anything comes to mind, please send an email to workability1@cde.ca.gov. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.